Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cyndy for September 13th. First of all, some thank yous. New subscribers, thank you so much for, hitting the button. I'm really grateful. I appreciate all of my subscribers, but it's always nice to get some new ones on board. So thank you very much for that. Donors, you've been amazing lately. So thank you very, very much for that. All your donations are so appreciated. I say this every time because it's just true. You just humble me. And so I thank you very, very much for that. Today I want to do a country hop. Okay. So I'm going to sort of dive bomb and take a look at Canada, the US, and Ukraine. Just sort of get an overall update of how things are going in those countries, and see what we can glean from that. Oh, before I forget, um, amazing response to the idea of this shine your light, um, guided meditations for protection and higher consciousness choices for the US election. So that will be coming out in the next week or so. And because it's going to be something that we're going to start and kind of continue on as we move towards the election. So there is that. And thank you. Awesome support for that. Very, very cool to see. All right, let's start with Canada. So the reason I'm starting with Canada is because I live here. But beyond that, the Conservative government has elected their new party leader, and his name is Pierre something. Okay, so good old Pierre there. He is a kind of Trump wannabe. His big thing is all the things that conservatives expound until, I guess they get hurt by those very policies. Um, so I want to take a look at him now. The next federal election is not until October 20th, 2025. I mean, we haven't even hit October 2022. So that's like 3 years away. And I don't imagine that the Liberals are going to call that election any earlier than they absolutely have to. And it has to happen by the 20th of October. Good fellow, the Hierophant. Okay, so and he's just radical, and so we're going to take a look at that and see how that's going to work out, what that looks like, where we are as a country right now. So here we go. Insight into Canada, insight into Canada, insight into Canada. Okay, so we're starting off with the moon, and this really don't donate. Oh my God, my words denotes confusion, sort of things that are still coming to pass, things that have not yet come to light. So today, this morning, first of all, there was a federal holiday announced for September 13th in honor of Queen Elizabeth. That is the day of her funeral. And the government has also announced, I haven't I haven't looked into it yet, but they have announced a lower cost or a free cost dental plan for a significant number of Canadians. As it is, for example, like seniors get coverage. It's not full coverage, but they do get coverage. So there's some already in place, some benefits, but apparently there's going to be an expanded version of that. So, what the moon is talking about it's a couple things. It's talking about things that have been promised or anticipated that are kind of becoming illuminated. They're coming out of the shadows, okay? But this also indicates a sense that there is more quiet support for, if not Trudeau, the the Liberal government, or what the federal government has been doing. Certainly, all of the COVID support, the free vaccines, all of it has had a significant impact on a number of Canadians, of course, except for those who are yelling and screaming that their freedom was somehow infringed upon because we were trying to keep people alive. But it also's talking a little bit about this Pierre guy and how he is shadowed, as in we can't see his sort of true self or true motivations. And I think that that's one of the reasons where you're going to see, the current Liberal government stretching out that election sort of to the very last period of time that it can, okay? Because what sort of the strategy seems to me to be, allow this peer person, can tell I'm not real impressed with him already. Um, Allow him to sort of show some true colors, okay? So there's that. Um, the Ten of Pentacles. So this is about a sense of prosperity that is going to be returning to the country. We, like everybody else, have been hit with, really high inflation. Our interest rates have gone up, and gas has gone up, and now it's slowly coming back down. So this is about ongoing issues and concerns with the economy, with what the government is going to do to help bring back that sense of prosperity, that sense of, okay, we're not panicking anymore. We're okay. We're going to be fine. So that's kind of the current works. That's what's on the agenda. That's followed by a victory card. The victory card suggests victory, right? That the what the Liberal government is doing is going to, they're going to see good returns from it. People are going to respond and react to it. Now, again, COVID was pretty much last year, and the election isn't for 3 years. So they've got a lot of stuff that they need to do over the next 3 years to hold on and gain the momentum. The Lovers follows that, and so the Lovers talks about a coalition government, okay, a partnership. So this is the thing. The NDP, the New Democratic Party, are not likely at this point to get voted in with a majority. They always become the co-partners, okay? So the last election, the Liberals won, but they didn't have enough votes for a Liberal majority, so the NDP sort of joined them to create, this coalition for the government to function. The thought of the NDP joining with the Conservatives is laughable. Okay, they are on polar ends of the political spectrum. For Americans, this is how I would describe them. The Conservatives are your Republicans. The Liberals are your Democrats. The NDP are your more right Democrats. Okay, so the ones who want to cancel everything and pay for everything, that's sort of the NDP. And it's an interesting thing, but the newer generation, the younger kids, well, not all, but a vast majority of them really do lean to more NDP philosophy, simply because that new generation is more inclusive. So therefore, of course, more inclusive, more generous, philosophy, giving people a helping hand up, not letting them suffer in poverty and in disability. Those are all like really important issues to the younger ones. So the NDP are going to continue to gain ground. Now, Whether we end up with an NDP government with a coalition with liberals, which I think could be it, I do not see the conservatives at this point, looking at the energy today, I don't see them getting a real hold on the government. So we shall see. Um, it's going to be interesting over the next few years to watch this, but ultimately, we have the sun. And so the sun is about success, it is about prosperity, it is about, continued sort of good times, continued um, growth and abundance and that kind of thing. And we're finishing off with the Ace of Swords. So this is about communications. And I guess for now, the biggest, message, if you will, is that you want to pay attention. Sort of, this is our homework assignment, Canadians. We need to pay attention to what the government says and what they then do, okay? But in particular, I think that more and more people who actually start to really, like, not just hear, but think about and analyze what Pierre stands for, I think he's actually going to end up sort of creating a bit of a problem. And in this country, not sort of unlike the United States, um, by time they get to counting sort of the Western Canadian vote, so the Prairie Provinces, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta, the election has pretty much been determined by the huge population centers in Eastern Canada. And so they tend to go liberal, the center goes conservative, and Vancouver, British Columbia tends to go NDP. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But as time unfolds, it's going to be very important to listen to what the leaders of these three parties are saying. All right? So that's that. Let's take a look at Ukraine. So Ukraine has taken back some significant territory. Apparently, Russian soldiers are surrendering in droves to the Ukrainians. They have become very, very successful. They've gotten a lot of support from, the East, us. The United States has played a huge role in that, as of other countries, but they're getting better equipment, they're getting more and more training, they're becoming very strategic kind of about what they're attacking and how that's going. And so absolutely, things are, I mean, first of all, it is absolutely amazing that they have lasted this long. Because Russia really thought they could just roll right over Ukraine, and I don't get that, because Putin should know a whole bunch of Ukrainians, and they should kind of know the attitude they have. It's not like Russians, because the Russian people, by and large, and I'm not insulting anybody, but the Russian people, by and large, have been under this sort of dictatorship government for so long that in many ways, they're almost numb to the lack of freedoms they have. Where Ukrainian has had its independence, they celebrate its independence, and they're not going to let this bully, Russia, kind of punch them in the nose and beat up on them. So they are still sustaining and moving forward. Now, when that happens, Russia tends to retaliate, okay? And they've been blowing up like infrastructure, and they bombing like citizen areas and stuff. Sure, eventually there's going to be, like a war crimes tribunal at The Hague, and eventually, there's going to be sort of justice, if you will. Um, it feels right now, it feels like shortly before or right around the sort of anniversary of the war starting. So that was February, right, of 2022. It feels like by time we get to this coming February, that things will have been like, it will settle down, it will stop. It, I'm not quite sure how that looks, but it definitely looks like it's going to not surpass a year in timing. So hopefully, Ukraine continues to stay strong, and the countries that are supporting them one way or another continue to do so. And listen, we all recognize that the war in Ukraine has triggered the gas prices, and that's triggered the inflation issues. Um, and so there's really not a lot of point in blaming the leaders of countries, but people do that anyways because, they magically think that they should fix everything. Okay, let's take a look at your brain. Here we go. Insights into Ukraine, insights into Ukraine, insights into Ukraine. Okay. Bottom line is they really, really think that Russia is stealing from them. And they are, okay? But that's kind of what motivates at a base level, because it's like, who do you think you are to just come in and take our land? Okay? And Ukraine is not going to tolerate that and not going to put up with that. And actually, I'm being told that by the time this thing ends, they will have also taken back or gotten back a significant portion, if not all, of Crimea, which is huge because that cuts off Russia to I think it's the Baltic Seas there. So there's that. The Ukraine is facing such poverty right now, such destruction right now, and they are filled with gratitude and dependent on the support from other countries. They are the recipients of the good hearts and the will of people in other countries to support them, and they are very, very aware of it. This war started on unstable footing, and it is going to end because of that very unstable footing. That's Putin, right? He's the one who just decided to charge right in and take this. He's not winning this war. He's being humiliated at every turn. There's still whispers and talk around him about, taking him out or bringing him down. And so he's not doing great, and the Ukraine is doing a very, very good job at sort of keeping their country spirits up. And there's also, I think, a bit of some sort of a campaign that's going on to sort of get information into Russia that is actually accurate. Um, Apparently, places like Moscow and St. Petersburg, those bigger city centers are no longer supporting Putin. They have a real problem with what he's doing. And so, again, that creates that instability or that weakness within Russia and within Putin. And the Ukraine is absolutely, absolutely capitalizing on that. One of the things that is going to really, really help Ukraine is the ability to, first of all, Zelensky knows and understands his people. And because of that, he knows how to keep sort of spirits high. He knows how to, keep people engaged. And what they're learning now, what they're doing now, is they've learned how to be secretive and strategic about what they're doing. They've learned how to hide, and a sort of, I guess, not sort of let Russia know what's coming next. Apparently, this latest land recovery was misdirection, right? Like they told or they signaled they were going to be one place, and the Russians, and then they went to another place. Okay, so that kind of misdirection. So this is all really, really important as that country continues to move forward. They have the Knight of Pentacles here. So again, they are receiving so much from so many countries, and they are incredibly grateful. But this is the thing. Ukraine is not going to forget that. I suspect as soon as this war ends, Ukraine is going to join the United Nations, okay? And become part of that group. And they will be welcomed in simply because I don't even know what the criteria. One of them is having enough um, equipment, strategies in place to actually be able to fight a war. Well, they've more than proven that. But I don't know. It feels as if in some ways Ukraine is going to, as soon as they're able, start giving back. One of the things that I'm being told right now is that when Ukraine is ready to rebuild, they are going to, because they've lost a lot of the young people in the war. And let's not forget, like when it started, he wanted everybody 65 years or younger, fighting that war. And so they've lost a lot of that sort of male population, unfortunately. When they start rebuilding, I would not be the slightest bit surprised if they started drawing people from other countries, other tradespeople, to help rebuild that city. Interesting. For them, the war is definitely coming to an end, and they are going to, as of right now, they're going to end up being very victorious as that war ends. Okay, there's going to be a great deal of happiness, a great deal of sort of emotional satisfaction. There is going to be a return to balance and happiness and independence as this continues and Ukraine moves forward. Because Ukraine got good cards and Russia got, like, the Tower and this one, the Ten of Swords, Russia is not going to survive this in any real or kind of successful way. Their reputation is going to be tarnished for a long, long time to come. Um, you know, and again, I mean to insult no one, but particularly with what's been going on in the world, um, when we think Germany now, we think Hitler, mostly because there's a bunch of Hitler wannabes running around. And it's been years, like decades, but those two thoughts continue to sort of mesh together. And that is exactly um, the mantle, if you will, that Russia is going to take and carry. It is going to actually help balance, believe it or not, sort of that automatic connection with Germany and Hitler. Germany's finally going to sort of be able to pay its dues and put that behind them, because in part Russia's going to grab that title and run with it for a very, very long time to come. I'm hearing at least 100 years. So even at some point when Russia becomes democratic, and it will, but even then, much like Germany, it's, a democratic country, right? But even then, they will carry the cross of the blood and the war and their behavior for a long time to come. And that's as it should be, frankly. Okay, and now let's move to the United States. So apparently later on today, Biden is going to be doing an address or a speech or something, um, talking about inflation. And, it's going to, I think, be more of a good news kind of chat than a bad news one. And it's going to start to help people focus on the fact that it's not all doom and gloom out there. And again, you're just like every other country. You're dealing with inflation. You're still dealing with gas prices. You're still trying to recover from COVID. We're all in that same boat together. But the Republicans can't keep harping on it because they're not winning themselves any favors, and they're already in so much trouble because of the whole abortion thing. Good Lord. They should just be quiet. And Biden is very strategic, and that administration is strategic. And so now, um, the Republicans don't want to talk about abortion because they see that they shot themselves in their foot. And so now they're going to try to shift or continue to shift hard towards the economy. And out comes Biden saying, hey, listen, this is how it's going. We have good job numbers. We have good this. We have good that. Okay. That doesn't mean that everything's just going to be smooth and peachy keen. There's going to be hiccups and bumps because evolution. But it has forward momentum, and that's a good thing. All right. Take a look at the United States. Insights into USA, insights into USA, insights into USA. Okay. King of Swords is what you're starting with. So this is about looking, appreciating, and encouraging a leader that is strong, that unites, a leader that is not so politically right and just so not everything that Trump is and was. I'm sorry, I'm just obviously my brain's a little sluggish today. So this is a good thing because this is a card that is representing the Republicans. They are now tied to the devil. They are now painted with the same brush as is Trump. The more trouble Trump gets into, the worse and the harder it's going to be for Republicans. Because let's not forget, the J6 hearings are starting again towards the end of September. I'm sure they're going to go through October. You now have, it was announced yesterday, the Department of Justice is now looking into the behavior of the Department of Justice under Trump, particularly Bill Barr. And of course, yesterday, I think it was announced that they issued 40 subpoenas for phone records and communications connected to um, January 6th and the fake electorates. Okay. So the Department of Justice is firing on all fronts, and the reality is that the Republicans are on very, very, very shaky ground. As a result of this, one of the things that has happened is that people have sort of taken the time to just slow down a little bit and really think, reflect on the kind of country they want going forward. And again, the vast majority want a country that has balance. They want a country that they can be proud of again. They want a country that is not feeling so volatile and so violent. And now you have the Three of Hearts or sorry, the Three of Swands. Oh my God, the Three of Swords. I swear to God, I'm sorry, people. Um, this is about the fact that America, frankly, is heartbroken. They're sad because this has been a really, really hard go. But but that sadness motivated women. Lord Almighty, has it motivated women? And women are not going to put up with a lot of the stuff that has been implemented. And this is the thing, it's not just the abortion issue. It's um, sort of the miscommunication, the misdirection in school boards, the way those have been handled. There's whether it is school shootings or whether it is, like, for God's sakes, in Florida, where some teacher issued an assignment. I'm sure you may have heard about it. People in Florida, I'm sure, have heard about it. This issued an assignment, a take-home assignment for her class to um, write an essay about how, when people refer to the big lie or Trump lying, that is nothing but media bias. Uh, Parrots freaked. Okay, so look out, moms. Look out, women. Look out, divine feminine. And of course, I always include the men in this because there are so many enlightened men who stand right beside those women and go, "This is not acceptable." There's going to be new messaging coming out. There's going to be an assessment done. People are going to continue to evaluate what works for them and what doesn't work for them. You have both the Page and the Knight of Swords here. So this is about information coming out. This is about, starting to look at new ways of doing things. And, there's going to be a lot of emphasis in the next, what is it, 8 or 9 weeks, that sort of focuses in on really talking to the successes, okay? Really talking to the infrastructure bill, really talking to um, the prescription bill, really talking to what has been accomplished, bipartisan and partisan, by this government. It's going to be it's really important that the Democrats, like, toot their horn, that they talk a lot about what has been accomplished and what they have yet to accomplish. And you're ending off with the Ace of Pentacles. So again, there is that sense of almost like a new beginning, a new prosperity, a new way of looking at things, that's coming. And that's huge healing for that country. So, what do we take away from today? We take away two things. One, that I can't talk worth crap today. And two, that it feels as if these countries are moving into periods of healing and recovery. And I don't think it's just exclusive to these three countries. I think a lot of countries that have been really struggling and suffering um, are moving into a period of, recovery and moving towards prosperity. Before I say goodbye, I once again just want to pass my really sincere condolences, not only to the other Commonwealth countries, but most especially to the people of Britain who have lost their Queen. So far, it looks like Charles is being accepted as their king, and I think that's a good thing. He's already, I mean, he's somewhere around the age of Joe Biden. So this is not a young man, but he is going to seek counsel from William. Oh, thanks for telling me that, a lot. And so there's going to be kind of sort of some new ways of doing things, some new ways of looking at things that are going to come about. And I think that in time, no one is ever going to be as beloved as Queen Elizabeth, but he will gain acceptance and approval. So again, my deepest sympathies to those in Britain and all the other Commonwealth nations. For now, take care, be well, and we'll see you really soon. Bye.